There are mysteries in the sport of boxing that just keep presenting themselves. And such is the case when you look at the lightweight division and the fighters that are fighting in the lightweight division. Fighters that we would like to see square off against one another. Fighters that are top-notch. Some thought to be the best fighters in the sport of boxing, as Shakur Stevenson. Word is coming out that though the Gervonta Tank Davis fight is not going to be next, he has given permission to people in advisement positions to speak about who he can take on. And it's not someone that you would like to see him fight. It's not someone who has a fire name at lightweight. What is truly going on with these fighters of today, I can't tell you. But I do know that this posturing, the avoidance, the fact that guys don't want to come together and face one another, it's getting a little thick out here. And in the meantime, we're seeing young hopefuls stepping up to the plate, being more active, and are soon to arrive on that level. Let's talk about the latest news about Shakur Stevenson and what his option for his next fight may be in early talks. Shakur Stevenson, WBC lightweight champion. We thought that he may be looking at the WBA lightweight champion, Gervonta Tank Davis, in a fight that many people hold as a prestigious legacy type event between the two fighters at lightweight. But this is not what either man really wants. We do know that when fighters want to face one another, they will go ahead and make the deal and make fights happen. But that's not the case here. And according to a Boxing News 24 article that's dated August 15th by James the Grad, promoter Eddie Hearn revealed that he had had talks with Joe Cordina about him moving up to 135 to challenge Shakur Stevenson for his WBC lightweight title. Hearn says that it's in the discussion stage. Shakur says his original target, WBC #1 William Zepeda, wants to push the fight to February, and he doesn't want to wait that long. Zepeda and his promoter, Oscar De La Hoya, want to fight on the same card as Terrence Crawford versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. in February in Riyadh. First of all, I don't know that the Crawford-Ortiz fight has been made. They may be in talks. But what about Gervonta Tank Davis saying that his hit list of fighters included Stevenson, Lomachenko, Devin Haney? But they're going away from that now? When are we supposed to get the fights that the people want to see from these two men who curiously haven't participated in what Turki Al-Sheikh has been doing with the sport, meaning making the best fights against the best possible opponents. This is more of the same, the posturing, guys not looking to go out there and compete against the best because they're too busy being friends, too busy camaraderie, palling around. And I think this is another ploy, because when these men of today profess to be friends, facing one another in combative sport is not an option. He's my buddy. I'm not going to fight my friends. And it's curious how Shakur has gone around and made tons of friends. If it's not going to be Tank Davis, and William Zepeda is not a possibility, because Zepeda really doesn't want to fight Shakur. We know that. What about Frank Martin, whom Gervonta just fought in his last fight? What about the likes of Michel Rivera, whom Shakur could face because Frank Martin defeated him? And this talk of entertaining a possible matchup against someone like Joe Cordina, and everyone knows that Cordina has been a fighter who has come out and been very competitive, but he just got starched by Anthony Kakachi in his last fight just a couple months ago. And for a guy who was knocked out in his last fight, gonna be moving up to a higher weight class, why is that an option or consideration? How about the man who knocked out Joe Cordina and Anthony Kakachi? A fighter out of the UK whom going into his fight with Cordina wasn't thought to have much of a punching chance against Cordina, but still scored an upset knockout. I mean, his fight against Kakachi was an upset of the year type deal. His fight against Cordina. And Joe, who said he had struggles at that super featherweight division, he wanted to move up, but he didn't, and he lost his title. So he needs to work himself into contention. That's typically the way it's really gone in the sport of boxing. But why would Shakur be considering a guy like this? The article goes on to say if Hearn is going to sign the free agent Shakur to his Matchroom company, offering him Cordina would be a nice gesture on his part. It would be a low risk and help Hearn build Shakur as a star in the UK, because the US audiences have been unappreciative of his fighting style. Shakur's fighting style might be the right cup of tea for British audiences. Cordina, who's 17-1 with 9 KOs, recently lost his IBF super featherweight title to Anthony Kakachi by an 8th round knockout on May 18th in a one-sided fight. On many levels, Cordina, who's 32, wouldn't be ideal for challenging a highly skilled defensive artist like Shakur, who is currently 22-0 with 10 KOs. Cordina is ranked number 13 by the WBC. On the positive side, Shakur can't punch, so Cordina won't be at a risk of being knocked out by him. If Cordina's power carries up to 135, Shakur could be in for a long night, and he might have to get on his bike to keep from getting clipped. Interesting article here, because as they speak, and quite disrespectfully, to talk about Shakur not being able to score knockouts, it's not that he can't score knockouts. It's the fact that he doesn't commit to trying to knock fighters out. But he's strong. He has punching power. But Shakur really needs to get off of the social media stage and get in the ring and start settling in on a potential candidate to face. Because from what we've seen of him, he's done far more talking, tweeting, and visiting podcasts and making friends with potential opponents instead of facing one. It is time for him to decide what he really wants to be in the sport of boxing, and that is a champion who is paving a way toward legacy and doing something great for the sport. Or these other young fighters, like an Abdullah Mason, will pass him by easily. And those type of fighters are the ones who will definitely cause a great deal of trouble as he and his projected boring style gets left in the dust, because Mason has shown himself to be quite a draw, and he stops people. He gets people out of there. And at the age of 20, he's getting better each and every fight. Look for him to be in the top 10 in the early parts of 2025. The walls are closing in on the likes of Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Tank Davis as they mill about and don't try to put themselves in the lap of luxury of being the best in the sport by fighting the best. They're avoiding one another and looking for another. That is not the way to go about things. And articles such as this Boxing News 24 article, where the link will be in the description box, is telling you that to your face. But if you don't want to be disrespected, if you don't want the masses to look at you in the way that they have been, do something about it. As Terrence Crawford likes to say, get active. Your destiny, your fate is in your own hands in this sport. And to be one that's just talking, be one that's just visiting different podcasts and making friends in locker rooms and gyms with guys who are potential earning stakes, you're going to have to change your approach, man. This is not an easy thing to do when you've done it for so long like you have, but it's time to be a professional and be a fighter by trade and by your actions. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what your thoughts are about this article and the moves that Shakur is not making and the moves that you would like to see him make. Let's discuss. Leave comments. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Peace to everyone out there, and everyone please remain safe.